This is the Fantasy Roadshow.
What's going on? Welcome into another episode of the Fantasy Roadshow. We are your hosts. My name is Truck. You can find me at fantasy_trucker. All the way on the left, that's Kulz. You can find him at Kulz_sports. And then we have Shane O'Mac in the middle. You can find him at S_McCormick_FF. Boys, how we doing today?
What's going on? Doing good. Just living life, I guess. One bird hunting. We did that. Trying to think if there's anything else went on now. ACL is coming up. That's exciting here in Austin. But yeah.
Kulz, are you going to the Texas State Fair this weekend?
No.
Oh, man. That sounded like so much fun whenever I heard about it. I recently went to the Wisconsin State Fair this year and I had a blast. And I'm like, I need to experience everybody's state fair because it was a lot of fun. So
Texas State Fair, it's the same. It coincides with the Red River rivalry. So UT, OU.
Yeah.
So it is. I'll do it eventually. I'm just not going to do it this year. Those tickets are like, I think it's like 500. Last I checked, it was 500 to get in the door because Texas Texas has been talking about being back for a long time, but
yeah.
They have a really good football team this year, and there's a long way to go, but they're excited.
Absolutely. Shane, how you doing? Anything new and exciting happening in your world?
Man, I just share like enjoyment that's come into my life in the last 3 weeks. And I may be late to the party here, but I have discovered peanut butter on pancakes and waffles. And it is absolutely a game changer.
Yeah.
I heard you talk about that somewhere, and immediately I'm like, that sounds delicious. Like, it's great.
This is nowhere near that level, but something I've been doing for a while is rice cakes and putting almond butter on rice cakes. So that's like my form of that, I guess.
No, someone just mentioned that to me because I was eating some rice cakes too last week, and they're like, you should put some peanut butter on it. I'm like,
yeah, It's game changer. I mean, there's so many different good forms of that, like nut butter too. Like there's just like you go to Trader Joe's or something like that, and there's like a million different. I've been trying, or I'm trying to try out like one new type of butter they have. Look at us starting off the show talking nut butters.
Nothing wrong with that. Huh?
Yeah. Someone's gonna get a nice clip of us talking about nut butter.
About nut butters. Yeah. All right. Well, I didn't mention it earlier, but we are live on YouTube at youtube.com/sportsethos. Go check us out there if you're just listening on the podcast form. And also check out the Substack. We have a Substack, goes out articles for this episode and other episodes on a weekly basis. It's thefantasyroadshow.substack.com. Today we are talking week 5. It's already week 5.
Dude, Truck, so sorry to cut you off.
Go ahead.
The whole live show thing, I was watching Pat McAfee today, and he kind of went in a little bit about how he appreciates Scott Hansen from Red Zone because he's like, does it live and just thinks on his feet and all that, and kind of talks a little bit about, difference between podcasts and live show. And I'm so fucking happy we went live because it is different. And this is just, it's kind of how we roll. I mean, it clicked for me. Let's say that when I heard him talking about it.
Yeah.
So I'm glad as the head producer, the producer of the pod, you made that decision a while back.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It sparks engagement. Everybody out there listening, watching, feel free to comment, ask questions about your fantasy team, about your weekly matchup, about trades, whatever it is. We will be answering any and all questions in a segment at the end of the episode, a mailbag segment. So stay tuned for that. But yes, please join us and have
it's
some
so
fun.
Funny though, Shane, because Heat Truck, so much inspiration comes from McAfee, doesn't it?
It really does. I'm a big fan of the McAfee show. I've been watching it since COVID. Like once COVID happened, like everything shut down, and they just hammered through, and it was so entertaining that it was fun. It was funny talking about sports all day. So now it's just a part of my day. 3 hours out of my day, and I'm a truck driver, so I can listen to it for 3 hours out of my day.
So is his dad.
Problem. So
his dad. A lot of his
McAfee's
inspiration
dad's a truck
comes
driver.
from the trucking industry. Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
yeah.
until next week, Truck's going to be like doing the show standing up, right?
Yeah.
Next week,
Um,
I'm going to be in Toledo, Ohio in the beginning of the week. I'll be in Indiana later in the week. I'll just be kind of all over the place.
Someone else that won COVID, another COVID winner was Dana White and the UFC. The UFC just started popping out events. Now they're weekly. They're doing Wednesdays and Saturdays. He crushed it during COVID. Rogan, obviously.
He created an island.
Yeah.
Like a fight island.
Abu Dhabi Fight Island. Yeah.
That was a thing. Like that's insane.
Yeah. Jacksonville, he was holding events, but
yeah.
Anyways, I wanted to propose. We've been doing a lot of brainstorming on how we can make red light, green light in this episode better. I want to propose a segment. So with the whole like
I'm listening
120 Central, that whole alarm thing that went off today. I feel like today was kind of a big conspiracy day.
Oh my God.
Got the conspiracy juices flowing. So I kind of want to implement a conspiracy segment where we talk we create different NFL conspiracies. So, the current, like there's a narrative around the Twitter sphere, or just, people with their whole script and all that bullshit with the NFL saying the Bengals are going to tank to try to get Marvin Harrison, kick T. Higgins out, and move forward with Burrow, Chase, Harrison. I don't know, like the whole is Judy or Cortland Sutton being shopped from the Broncos, or are they tanking for Caleb? There's just, what I'm trying to say. I think it could be fun if we create a conspiracy segment to the show where each of us or one of us draw up a conspiracy to propose to.
I see where you're going with this.
I don't know.
There's a lot of wild narratives out there in the NFL that people are just like suggesting, and then I see what you're doing.
And I imagine as a trucker, when you're on the open road, it's like 2 a.m. and you're starting to get delirious and you see a UFO fly over you. Conspiracies probably are going through your head. So I figured we could tie something in the road show conspiracies. Let's, is my hat a UFO or is it a Mexican man wearing a sombrero? I mean,
it looks like a little bit of both. Yeah, we could do a little Kulz conspiracy of the week.
No, not Kulz conspiracy. But, I mean, I guess. I don't know. Just brainstorm.
Got a little ring to it.
We're throwing it out there. We're throwing ideas out there. See what sticks. That's what it's
all right.
about.
Well, we'll put it in the pot and we'll mix it up. We'll see what comes out. But
all right.
I'd say let's stop messing around. Let's dive right into it, huh? How about that?
Let's do it.
All right, buckle up. All right, so we are kicking off week 5, red light, green light, our love-hate segment of the week. And we start off with red light quarterbacks. So, Shane, do us the honor, kick us off. We have for red light this week.
I'm going to go with a guy, and I think he started in every super flex league, and I think he may even started this week with bye weeks. But I'm going, and I hate to do this because I hate making calls against my team with playing my team, but I'm going Brock Purdy playing the Cowboys. No homerism here. I'm just looking at the facts.
Okay, all right.
I before you get started,
sure.
Brock Purdy is on my list as well for red light.
Let's go.
I wanted to also, that is my Brock Purdy pick is for a friend of mine, Dylan Eagle. I just want to shout out Dylan. That's what Brock Purdy red lights for you.
Okay, so Shane, go ahead. Tell me why you're putting the brakes on Brock Purdy this week, who seemingly can't do anything wrong so far this season.
Exactly. I mean, he has. He's been like QB 12, through the year. So, but Dallas is only, they're not even giving up 150 yards passing a game, and they're still playing good even without Diggs being absent. The worst game that they gave up this year was against Arizona. and Joshua Dobbs. And that was just because he ran the ball against them, which Purdy's obviously not going to be. I think this game sets up to be like the divisional round playoff game last year. So you're looking like at a 19-12, low scoring, take the under total score. It's going to be, so if they're going to score, let's say 2 touchdowns, one probably going to McCaffrey for sure. And then maybe you get one from Purdy, but that's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I agree. Like, I just don't like this game script for Purdy. Like you're saying, these two defenses are going to flex their muscles. I think Micah is going to show up big. Like, this is just your classic Micah Parsons comes flying around. And because of Purdy's lack of mobility, I think he's just going to get in his grill and frustrate him, cause some turnovers. Purdy is just like, what is he, undefeated in the regular season? I think
he's 16 regular season 15 regular season wins in a row.
Yeah. So I've been pretty vocal against Purdy this entire time we've been press and play and doing the podcast. And like, all right, now that he is a starting quarterback in the NFL, that looks like he's not going to, he's not going anywhere. He's winning games. He's proven to be very good in this system, the Shanahan system. That being said, like, he is a product of getting paid under $1 million as a quarterback and has the best players at every position around him, right? Like, the only way that you can have all of, like, this entire defense and pay Christian McCaffrey that money is if your quarterback's not getting paid $40 million a year, $35 million a year, like some of these top guys. So yeah, I mean, he makes the right decisions. He doesn't really put the ball in danger much, but he gets lucky a lot, man. I forget who was the Thursday night game. That wasn't the Cardinals, was it? 2 weeks ago, Thursday night, Giants. He had a pass against the Giants where he just throws it in the air, and like, I forget who it was for the Giants, comes flying through and just complete stone hands, doesn't pick it off. But like, those type of plays, they're just they happen with Purdy. And when a defense is as good as the Cowboys, and a team that not only turns the ball over but turns the ball over and scores, I think you're going to see some of that with the Cowboys this week.
Yeah, Brock Purdy was not on my list, but I totally get it. I totally understand where you guys are coming from. Micah Parsons is an animal out there, and he's going to be looking like this is Brock Purdy's toughest test of his career. I mean, everybody said towards the end of the year last year that he didn't face tough matchups, and then like the beginning of this season, he hasn't faced tough matchups. Like, this is the best defense he's going to be playing of his career. So true test, and we'll see what happens. But you guys are probably right. He's not someone I'd be wanting to start this week.
Yeah. I love that you had him as well, Shane Mack. Who else you got, Shane?
So the next guy I'm going to go with this is going to be a little bit surprised because, I mean, this guy's put up 22 to 24 points a game.
It's not going to shock us, though, is it?
Oh, no.
Oh, okay.
But it is, it's a little surprising because there's a lot of people that are really praising him and pumping him up this week.
I have the same fucking guy.
I'm going CJ Stroud.
Throw it on the board, baby.
Put it on the board.
2 for 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what it is, but the Falcons, they limit passing game. The defense, they just limit the pass game. And I don't know if it's more, I mean, they did add some key new players in free agency, but if it's more, they just run the ball and kill the clock and limit the possessions for the other team. But I've seen them really given some pretty decent quarterbacks this year, whether it's Jordan Love, Jared Goff, or Trevor Lawrence. They've all had bad games against this Falcons defense.
Yeah. Yeah, I love this game for the Falcons. I think it's such a good spot for them. You have a classic regression for the Texans. I mean, like, they them in Miami both like have to come down to life, right? Almost at the same level to where Stroud being a rookie quarterback in a young offense, they're going to have growing pains. And this is a classic, like going to Atlanta, great defense. Atlanta's coming off a tough 2 losses. They know that they need to win this game to get the, to get back on track. So this is a game they're going to win, and they're going to be all over Stroud. And I just think same as like the Dolphins, they couldn't have gone any higher unless they were just going to completely change the game of football, right? So, that happened to them. The Bills flexed their muscles. Josh Allen showed, why he was in conversations of being the best player in football. So, yeah, I mean, I love this spot for Atlanta. Because of that, I think Stroud's going to have a tough game, and I think Nico, Tank are going to also have tough games along with them. They'll be on my red light wide receivers.
Okay, little teaser there.
A little teasy.
A little teaser there. So, I get what you guys are saying. I love Stroud. I love what he's doing so far this year, but this is going to be a tough matchup for him against Atlanta. My red light quarterback kind of segues into this nicely because Atlanta just held him to a QB 16 finish last week, and that's Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence is going against Buffalo this week. Okay. I feel like this is low hanging fruit. I mean, Buffalo, we saw what he just did to Tua Tagovailoa, however the hell you say his name. I'm terrible at pronouncing his name.
Just call him Tua.
Yeah, the Miami Dolphins, they stopped the Dolphins in their tracks after they were humming, and Trevor Lawrence and the Jags are basically struggling. And I think that struggle continues, and it gets even worse for them this week against Buffalo. Trevor Lawrence is QB 19 on the season, and I think his last 3 games he's finished outside of QB 15. Like, he just hasn't been playing good outside of that first week, so I wouldn't be trusting him. The Bills are allowing the 4th fewest passing yards per game. I'd stay away from Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah. I don't think that they've even passed 300 yards total offense on the year even. I mean, I don't know what's going on there.
Oh, the Jags?
Yeah.
So,
they certainly haven't looked like the high power offense we all thought they were going to quite yet. 2-2 in a division where everyone is across the board. I think they're going to lose this game, but from a game narrative standpoint, they are hanging out in London, whereas the Bills are flying over. Granted, Von Miller might be coming back, which is going to be fucking massive for that Bills defense. He was the first 10 games last year before he got injured. He was in conversation to be defensive player of the year.
And the Bills, I'm pretty sure the Bills are already leading the league in quarterback pressures. Like, they're already a top tier in pressuring the quarterback. Now you get Von Miller back. That's just
and that's what JJ Watt was saying today on McAfee. Is he was like, listen, like when you have someone as good as Von Miller, you either have to game plan for him, specifically for him, and then the other guys are going to be one-on-one and go to work, or you're going to have to just kind of plan on, chipping him and let him do his thing, and he's going to eat you alive. So, the entire offensive line game plan and scheme is going to be based around someone like Von Miller. So adding that back to a defense that's already been successful is just, completely massive. But it's going to be a good game. I mean, it's going to be a lot closer, 5.5 spread right now. I think it's going to be tighter than that. I mean, the reason I say that is because the Jaguars are already in London, and they're, adapted to the time zone. They just kind of are living in those elements. They're so familiar with those stadiums. But I think it's something crazy, like the favorite covers X amount. I don't know the exact stat, but the favorites cover historically in London, and something about, I think it's like 35 of the 49 Josh Allen wins have been by more than a touchdown, something crazy like that. So, you can go back and forth all day, but we'll see. I think it could be a good, fun, high-scoring game. We'll see if the Jags can keep up with this Bills offense that's humming.
Yeah, absolutely. And my last quarterback red light of the week is someone who is a top 10 quarterback on the season. His name's Russell Wilson. Played the Chicago Bears last week and couldn't really get anything going through 3 quarters against a sorry-ass Bears defense. Okay? He found all of his production in the 4th quarter and made it happen and pulled out the win. So good for you, Russell Wilson. He is the QB9 on the season. He has 2 top 10 quarterback finishes, but I think this week going against the Jets, dude, the Jets defense is playing a lot better than they have been through the first 3 weeks. Last week, they played really well, and they made Patrick Mahomes look human. Patrick Mahomes had 2 picks. He probably should have had more than that too. So I don't like Russell Wilson this week in Superflex, and I'd be avoiding him at all costs.
Yep.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be tough. That game kind of confuses me because, like, I don't know what to think in that game. Like, I want to say that the Jets are going to, Zach Wilson's going to build on last week's performance and he can kind of pick apart a bad Broncos defense. It's just that game's hard for me to see. So because of that, I'm not going to co-sign that pick, but it just sets up as probably a tough defense for him. He hasn't really looked that good being a top 10 quarterback.
No,
like, the offense doesn't look like it's like humming. I mean, he's getting good numbers, but it's almost like, I don't know. You don't feel great about them if you watch it, right? It's not like, oh, Russell's figured it out. I guess is what I'm trying to say, but I don't know. That's a weird game for me. I don't know how to pick it. I really don't.
Just watching him struggle last week when I was watching that Bears game just doesn't give me any confidence for him to face this Jets.
It's been every game. Like, the end result's been good on a box score. It looks good, but it's not that way.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
and this kind of segues. We'll kick off our green light quarterbacks. In the same matchup, I have Zach Wilson as my green light quarterback of the week.
Hey,
Zach Wilson last week, we all saw what he did against the Kansas City, almost 250 yards with 2 touchdowns against a good defense who is letting up the 8th fewest passing yards per game. The Chiefs are not bums on defense, and Zach Wilson played a really good game. Now he gets to face Denver, who is ranked 31st against the pass. They are bottom of the barrel along with the Bears, right down there. So he gained confidence this last week, as we saw, and I think this carries into a productive week against Denver.
I would love to see it. I really would. I don't have much to add. I would love to see it. I already kind of talked about this game. It's just tough for me to see.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, it would be like, man, if he could play, just Matt put the stats he did last week, this week, it'd be another good game for him. I mean, if he could do 2 touchdowns, 250 yards, I mean, he's going to be a super flex start for teams this week for sure.
We got him in our Ethos League. So last week we started A-Chain over him. A-Chain actually outperformed him, even though he had such a good game.
Did he really? I didn't even
yeah, he did. He had like 27.
Nice.
Yeah, we'll probably super flex him in that position. I mean, we have Stafford. We have Stafford against Philly starting as our quarterback, and then Zach Wilson with Deshaun Watson on a bye. So probably super flex Wilson with confidence over A-Chain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know though. Got to get A-Chain in the lineup. Anyways,
Shane, what do you got for green light quarterbacks?
First guy I'm just going to take the free space. Okay. I'm just going to go Sam Howell versus the Bears.
I got him as well.
I got him as well. The trifecta. How about it?
Tolls and I have got what you and I used to have.
We need to get that trifecta drop.
Yeah, I gotta put something together for the trifecta.
So the Bears, they've allowed 3 top 10 quarterback finishes out of the 4 games. The only one who wasn't a top 10 was Baker Mayfield, and he still threw for over 300 yards in that game. And I like a couple things. I was kind of impressed with how Sam Howell looked last week playing against the Eagles, when they had to come back, and he really showed me something. I like each game he's rushing for more yards. So it's kind of progressed. He's running more. So last week he ran for 40 yards, and he's just had this progressions where he's willing to use his legs more. So I just feel that this game, I don't feel like Washington or the Bears are going to blow out one another, but it should be kind of, he should be able to put up some pretty good stats.
I agree.
Go ahead.
Go for it.
All right. Yeah,
no, I think I'm getting a little bit of I think I'm getting a little bit of lag from you guys. I don't know if that's me or what, but
I'm not getting any on my end. So, but I'll just jump in. I have Sam Howell as well. There we go. Mike's going to cut out and hop back in. Hopefully his gets better. So anyway, Sam Howell, you made a great point. He's been running a lot more lately. He's got over 20 fantasy points in 2 of his last 3 games. And for me, the Bears defense has given up the second most points to opposing offenses, points per game. So we saw what he did last week against Philly. I think he's going to have a good game against Chicago. It's as bad as it is for me to say that.
Yeah, this is a lot better. All right. So I also have Howell. I think that I really have Justin Fields and Howell. I just think that this is going to be a pretty tight, high-scoring game. Kind of like the Commanders. Was it Commanders and Broncos? That was like 35-33.
Yeah, in Denver, yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think it's going to be just like that. I mean, that's Denver. That's what the Broncos and the Bears were. I have these 3 teams all kind of similar, where it's like offenses that can score and defenses that will give up a lot of points. So I just don't. The Commanders are 2-2 this year, and they may be 3-2 after this game, but they will probably be 3-2 after this game. But
I think they will.
I still think they're one of the worst teams in the league. I mean, I don't know. I guess the Giants are pretty bad too. But
God, that was hard to watch.
Yeah. So I just think it's going to be one of those fun games, up and down, back and forth. Both teams' offenses flexing their muscles on shitty defenses.
Yeah, fair enough.
My other green light quarterback, who I also had last week, is Anthony Richardson. He put together a pretty outstanding game late. Yeah. That second half was very impressive. I was wrong. I'll admit that I'm wrong on Anthony Richardson, and I will correct that mistake quickly and jump on his bandwagon. I'm not too man enough to admit that I was wrong on that. Just the way that he's making throws with Donald right in his grill, the way that he's coming from behind, doing it with his legs, looking competent enough throwing the ball that, with the right coach. To be honest, I think Shane Steichen is an outstanding coach.
I agree.
He's making the Bears coaching staff look so bad, because someone who like Fields, who probably has a way better arm, more accurate, and I was wrong too, Kulz. La Flamina. Hey, we can start a support group, talk about it. We can't be right all the time. But yeah, no, he looks great. This is a spot at home against the Titans. They can take control of the division. I think he is perfect for the Titans defense. The Titans defense is outstanding at defensive tackle. And other than that, pretty dicey. So how do you beat that type of defense? Just like you saw with Donald, you roll out and make shit happen with your legs. And he's exactly that kind of quarterback. So from a matchup standpoint, I love Richardson. I think they're going to win this game. And I think that you're going to see him take another step. if he can stay healthy, man, the Colts have a chance. I think Taylor's back in this game, so definitely going to be exciting.
Yeah, he was on my short list. I didn't include him, but I do like where he's going so far this year. And I'm excited to see what he can do against this Tennessee defense, who is really good against the run. They're allowing the 4th fewest rushing yards per game, and Richardson's a rushing quarterback. So I'm excited to see how often he throws the ball versus how often he runs, and how effective he is against a really good run defense as well. So I'll be watching this one.
Yeah, but that just because they're a good running defense doesn't mean they're a good containing a quarterback who runs defense. You know what I mean? Like, they're so good at clogging the middle and causing chaos and not letting holes open up because of Simmons, guys like that on the D line. That doesn't mean that they can contain when he bootlegs and finds space. It doesn't. That's not the same thing. You know what I mean? So that's the way to beat a defense like this. So I think. I just think it's more of a pro than it is like something's got to give. I think this is exactly how you beat a defense and expose them. And listen, he just had practice doing it against the best Aaron Donald the week before. So you take what you learn and you get better. That's so much about being a rookie and a rookie quarterback. So this is like, this is exactly that 1 week after another. So we'll see how fast he can learn, how fast they can instill what he has learned, and how, it's going to go a long way for his maturation as a quarterback.
Yeah, absolutely. Shane, you got anything there?
Yeah, I was just impressed. Like, he had, I think, 29 fantasy points last week, but he only completed 11 passes doing that. That's what impressed me about him. I mean,
yeah, he likes that long ball, man. He's gonna miss some of those throws that should just be, that he just should be making, and then he's gonna make some of these throws like he did on that deep ball. I believe it was the Pittman that was like, where the fuck did that come from? So
yeah,
exciting young quarterback, man.
Yep.
All
right, you guys good on quarterbacks? You want to jump to running backs?
I got one more.
Okay, go ahead.
It's kind of an important one to note here, because it is the Shane O'Mac shocker of the week.
Shane O'Mac shocker of the week. What do you got, Shane?
Oh, okay. I am calling it. Joshua Dobbs is a top 7 fantasy quarterback this week. He is consensus being rated. He's being consistent. His consensus rating is QB 18. I'm saying he is going to be a top 7 fantasy quarterback this week. He's playing at home against the Bengals. This Bengals team, they were rated low against the pass going into last week, and then they got a little better, but they still gave up over 400 yards passing and rushing and receiving to the Titans. I just think you look at Dobbs, like, he's already had 2 top 8 performances, which is crazy. But it's because of that rushing. Like, he quietly is one of the best rushing quarterbacks in fantasy right now. I think he's gone for like 40 and 55 and 58. And then he's doing it all also with some passing, 4 passing touchdowns. And so I just have a feeling like he puts up one of those, 60 yards rushing, 230, 40 yards passing and 2 touchdowns, and he gets into the top 7.
I love that. I'm looking to start Dobbs in a couple leagues, and I have some quarterbacks on buys and super flex leagues, and yeah, Dobbs is definitely an interesting target.
Let's just live shop this right now to Shane O'Mac. Shaka of the week. We have Burrow and Daniel Jones in a super flex dynasty league. Both quarterbacks having tough seasons to start. And there we have sweet Dobbs sitting on the bench.
I would start Dobbs over Burrow in a heartbeat.
I know, how crazy is that? But that's what's going to happen, man.
What is this world coming to?
Mm-hmm.
He's had 41, 55, and 48 rushing yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. That's the big thing to me, is like, he's protecting the ball.
Yeah.
Do you think they win this game?
Yes, I think they can win it. Yes.
Fuck.
I mean, look, like
This game started, I think it was -6 or -6.5 Bengals, and it's been bet all the way down to Bengals -3.
they just got curb stomped. They
By the Titans.
By the Titans. Arizona's got a better offense than the Titans. I really like Michael.
The Cardinals
Wilson
are
coming
not
on.
tanking. We're saying they're not tanking, right?
Doesn't seem like it.
But they're doing a poor job of it.
I know they are.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I love Dobbs. He has been outstanding. I don't know. I don't know what else to really add there. He's just not turning over the ball, running like you said. So, I'd like to see it. That is definitely a good shocker of the week. And great job putting together that drop.
That was nice.
That was a good drop. You guys like it?
That is good.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it one more time just for shits and giggles.
Yes, please.
Shane O'Mac, shocker of the week. You heard it here first. Joshua Dobbs, top 7 play this week. Put him in your lineups, according to Shane O'Mac.
Yep, that was good. Red light running backs. I have 2 guys who've kind of been struggling. I have Miles Sanders and I have Ramondre Stevenson. Sanders for me, is he dinged up?
Yeah, he's dealing with a groin injury. He's currently questionable.
Okay, yeah. So I think Chuba's looked okay. So I think they're going to continue to keep that. As long as that groin's bothering him at all, they're going to keep that like 50-ish, 50 split that they currently have going. So because of that, I would tread lightly on Sanders. His whole thing was production, or his whole thing was workload. And if that's going to be cut in half for him, or take 20% taken away, then that's just going to directly impact how he performs at a per game points per game level. So I have Miles Sanders and then Ramondre Stevenson. I just think the Patriots are bad. Mac Jones is bad. They're going to look to move on from Mac Jones. Seems like almost a dumpster fire type season for me for the Patriots. Like I think this game, I think the Saints are a lot better than the Patriots. So I think the Saints are going to win this game. We should be talking about, a Belichick defense at home. But to be honest, like you take Judon, you take Christian Gonzalez away from that defense and they are hurting. I know they just went out and got JC Jackson, but this is going to be a Saints win. And if that happens, they're going to contain that run game. They're going to contain Stevenson. So I do not like him or the Patriots at all this week. Yeah,
Stevenson is dealing with like some type of thigh injury. He's new to the he's questionable. So yeah, if he plays, it's not going to be a good game. So yeah, I didn't include both of them, but those were very highly considered running backs to be put on my red light list. I completely agree with you. Sanders has not been looking like himself, and Stevenson is just doesn't look like the best running back there. Zeke is looking better than him. So, yeah, I completely agree with you. Shane, what do you got?
Well, we are simpatico again. It's a sweep. I had Sanders and Stevenson. And, even if Sanders was, let's say, getting his normal workload, which, he may get over this injury. And so it's a really horrible matchup. I don't think people realize how good Detroit is. I mean, This is a defense that, they're only giving up 60 yards a game rushing. I think it's 14 points that they've given up to running backs this year. They're really good. They're really good defense, and I think they'll get up on Carolina pretty quickly on them, and they're left trying to throw the ball. And then Stevenson, same way. I will say this. It was funny, all those reports last week saying Zeke's going to get the starter reps and, going to get more touches and carries, and Stevenson still just destroyed him as far as touch touches and rushes. But this Saints defense is really good against the run. I mean, they haven't given up more than 65 yards a game rushing also this year. So it's just a matchup deal with both of those guys for me.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up the defense for the Lions. That was like one of the main points, one of the main reasons why I put them in there. Why I put Sanders on there. Their defensive line, their defense in general looks good. They look like one of the better teams in the NFC. I mean, I think they're going to rattle off quite a few wins here. Let me look at their schedule, but
and people don't talk about their defense when they're talking about the best defenses in the league, really.
No, they have Panthers, Bucks, and then they're at Ravens. That's a tough game. Raiders at Chargers. So you go ahead and you win all those games that you should win. First of all, the Bucks. I mean, Bucks away. That's going to be a win for the Lions, but it's going to look a lot better than it actually does because they're in first place in that conference. And then you got Ravens first place in their conference going into a tough environment. If you win a game against the Ravens or the Chargers and you're sitting there 7-2 and taking down 2 first place teams at their home building, you're going to have to start talking about them as one of the best teams in the NFC. So I think it's exciting. Defense is great. Hutchinson's going to play himself into being one of the best DNs in the league fast. That kid 41 with the long blonde hair, forget his name, playing linebacker.
The rookie from Iowa, I think.
That's
or that's him. Yeah, they
not him, but what's his name? It's getting late for me, but yeah. Is it Jack Kennedy, something like that? I don't know. Jack Campbell, Iowa linebacker, absolute stud. So they're going to play themselves into being one of the better defenses, and then we know what their offense can do. I didn't even put Goff down as a green light quarterback, but put him on my board as a green light quarterback. I think he's getting Jameson back, a deep threat that he's really been missing. Laporta's coming into his own. Laporta's an absolute stud. I think he's probably top 3 dynasty tight end at this point. And then everyone knows what Amon Ra can do. So that offense is going to keep getting better throughout the year. You add another weapon at home against a team that's 0-4, just looks bad. Goff's going to have an awesome game as well.
Yeah.
If I was a DFS guy, I would. If I was a DFS guy, I would put a lineup in of. I would do Goff and Laporta. I don't know if Lafamina. If you're still here listening, I'd be interested. Is that like a very high owned stack? But if not, I would look for Goff and Laporta to just dominate this game.
Yeah. Well, let us know, Lafamina, if you're listening. My 2 running backs on my red light list are frequent visitors, Najee Harris and Alexander Mattison. Najee Harris has just been god-awful. Not only has he been awful, but the Steelers' offense has been awful. We all see what's going on with this offense. Mike Tomlin wants to make changes. Matt Canada's not going anywhere. They're not making any changes. They're just adding more padded practices to the week. Like, this is just not going to get any better. He's got Baltimore this week. And I just, we've seen his snap percentage get lower and lower each week. Week 2, he had 57% of the snaps. Week 3, 50. Last week, 49. Jaylen Warren is the better running back on this team. And he's being more used in the offense. Like, Najee, he had his best game last week. He had over 100 scrimmage yards, and that amounted to 11 fantasy points. Like, he finished inside the top 20 once, and that was last week with the RB 19 finish. Like, if you're still starting Najee, I don't know what you're doing, but cut it out. Just cut it out.
Did you see Shane O'Mac? Did you see Matt Canada's got a burner account?
I did see that. Yeah.
It's linked up to his Steelers email like an idiot.
Mm-hmm.
So funny, dude. And then the other thing I was going to bring up is on one of the first episodes of the You Just Got Trucked, that Alexander Madison block has to be in there. Did you see that?
Yeah,
No,
that
I
was,
don't think I saw that
Oh
one.
God, Ryan, I'm gonna send it to you. Like
Please
you're gonna
do.
watch it. I want you to watch it mid episode when
Okay.
Shane O'Mac starts talking here. I don't have anything to add on either of those guys. I'm gonna look for this hit. Shane,
Yeah.
if you want to take
So,
over.
Yeah, the only thing I will say on Madison was since that trade happened for Akers, something has kind of switched with him. So like the first two games, he was like 3.3, 3.5 yards per carry. But since that trade, he's been at like 4.7 and 5.6 last week. He had his best week. Now, is this the week though that Akers starts to cut more into it snap wise and touch wise? Could be.
For me, his production has been really good over the last 2 weeks. He was RB10 2 weeks ago, RB20 last week. That's with pure volume, and I don't think that volume is there. I think it starts declining. And this week, I mean, Kansas City is a good defense. Like I don't think he gets enough work to be a valuable asset to your lineups this week. That's kind of where I'm at.
Akers got 14 snaps last week. I could see that being in mid-20s maybe this week, that their second week working him in.
Yeah, they went and got him. They're going to want to work him in at some point, and I think you start to see that this week. And people may be fooled by the recent ascension in Madison, and they're like, "Oh, I'm going to ride this out." Like, I wouldn't.
Yeah. I can't just figure out between the two of them, though, who's going to be that third down receiving back. That's what I'll be curious to see, because in a game like this against the Chiefs, that can matter.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. We'll see how this plays out. You guys good to go into running back, green light running backs for the week?
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to find this block, so one of you guys take it. I don't know why I can't find the fucking block. It was incredible.
Well, take your time, Mike. Shane, go ahead.
Block. You should it was.
Yeah, Shane, go ahead. Start us off with green light running backs. Who's on your list?
All right, I'm going David Montgomery against the Panthers. I don't know about you guys. I was shocked that guy got that much work last week in his first game back. I never expected 33 carries or 33 touches, whatever it was, in his first game back. And this is, to me, is setting up, like, the Panthers are 27th in the league in rushing yards allowed. And it just sets up, I think the game script's going to be like it was last week, but even better. Like, they're going to be up on the Panthers. They're going to lean on Montgomery to kind of put that game away in the second half. They lean on him in situations like that versus Gibbs, I think. So it's setting up, I think, for another big workload day.
Yeah, I have Montgomery on my list as well. I mean, he was the RB2 last week. It was insane. Over 32 carries. And this Panthers defense, like you said, they've allowed the 6th most rushing yards per game. They're allowing over 25 points per game to opposing offenses. Like, David Montgomery, to me, is a top 10 play this week. Like, I gung-ho for after what I got to see last week. And unfortunately, I had him on like every one of my benches, and he was just racking up points on my bench. That was very frustrating, and I should have just immediately thought that they would be giving him the ball like they did, but I didn't see it coming, and now I do. He's in my starting lineup. I love David Montgomery this week.
Yeah.
Wasn't he one of my guys this year, Shane?
He wasn't my guy. Yep. And I kept screaming from the all summer. I'd never understood the 4-round difference between him and Gibbs. Why there was such a big difference.
I really do wish
damn draft capital. It always confuses people.
I wish I listened to you more. I can't find this, so I'm gonna have to just find it later, Ryan. Okay. I really want you to see it live on air, though. I'll keep giving it a try. But anyways, is it my turn for green light running back?
Yeah, go ahead.
So my number one biggest green light is Breece Hall. You heard that his snap count has been lifted this week, which I just think this is going to be a game where if the Jets want to beat the Broncos and Zach Wilson, inspires any kind of hope in this team, and they go out and win, then Breece Hall is going to have to run wild. You can see Dalvin Cook's just pretty much cooked. He just does not look good, man. So Breece Hall, I think they just unleashed the beast this game, and we're going to see him run all over the place, catching the ball. He looks good running the ball, so I think he must be recovering pretty well. And a Broncos team, I don't have the stats in front of me, but they have been giving up monster games to running backs. Khalil Herbert just ran for 120, 100 plus.
Yeah, he had a big game. Lil Herbert had a big game.
Lil Herbie. And then obviously the game against A-Chain and Mostert getting 6 touchdowns. They've given up 35 points to the Commanders. I think Robinson had a huge game. I'm looking it up right now. 87, 2 touchdowns. So, I could see 100 yards, 2 touchdown game. Let's say 150 total yards from scrimmage and 2 touchdowns is what I see from Breece in this one.
Yeah, he was very close to being on my list. I just want to see them give him the ball. Just feed him the ball. Last
they want to win. If they want to win, this is low hanging fruit for the Jets and their defense. If they want to win this game, then he needs to be fully involved, and then that's going to trigger their offensive coordinator. Like, okay, he needs to be a massive part of this offense every week in order for us to, try to have success. So, yeah.
Yeah, last week his yards per carry 9.33. Week 1 it was 12.7. Like, give him the ball. Only carried the ball 6 times last week and 12 the week before. Like, he needs to touch the ball over 20 times for the game. Like, yeah,
this is one of those things where you like how I like to say, you don't get cute. This is probably, he's sitting on quite a few of my benches. This is probably a scenario where I will get cute and I'll start him before seeing it, because I think this is his coming out game. And I think this is, you drafted him to go through the ramp up period and then take off. And this is going to be the start of that against a team that allows an insane amount of points to running backs.
Yeah. Let's see it. Let's hope he scores his first touchdown on the season this week. Huh? How about it?
Yeah. Another guy. Perfect segue. Another guy who I need to have on my list for that first touchdown, Bijan Robinson.
Wait, he hasn't scored a touchdown yet?
No.
He scored a receiving one.
He hit a receiving touchdown.
Oh, okay. So no rush. I was going to say, I'm like, I feel like I've seen him in the end zone.
No, his first rushing. Sorry. Algier had those 2 in his first game. He has not scored a rushing touchdown yet this year. And this is a game we talked about earlier. I love the spot for Atlanta. Same kind of thing. This is a must win for them. And because of that, you're going to have to get Bijan a full workload. Like, he's working towards it. I mean, dude, like, he looks so good. He's accounts for every big play that the Falcons have. At some point, they're going to be like, all right, if we want to win this division, we're going to have to just feed him, as many times as we can.
Yeah, they've been trending in that direction where they're just not giving Algier the ball, and then they're just 14 carries last week to Algier 7. Like, let's go.
Yeah, A-Chain's my other green light, and I think he is starting to be 1A, and I think this will be the first game that they start to say, like, we're giving A-Chain the ball. Mostert, you and Wilson, you're going to kind of be staggering him. So I shouldn't even say 1A. I think this is going to be the first 1, and then 2A, 2B. Well, I guess Wilson's not back, but Mostert's going to take a back seat, and McDaniel recognizes speed. He recognizes talent. He's not stupid, so A-Chan's going to take over that backfield.
And by the way, we know his name is A-Chan. We're not calling him A-Chain.
I don't know that. That's not his name. His name's A-Chain. If he wants to come and have a conversation with me about it as his agent and his marketing, his personal marketing advisor, then it's A-Chain. Don't be stupid.
Well, I co-sign that. A-Chain is on my list as well. I love what he's been doing. You know, even when the Dolphins have a struggling game against the Bills, he's still he was the RB5 last week when the Dolphins weren't able to really do much against that Buffalo Bills defense. So, to me, that means he's pretty much matchup proof. He's a must start moving forward. The Giants are a terrible defense, giving up over 30 points per game and the 8th most rushing yards per game. Like, A-Chain is going to have another big week. 6 touchdowns in the last 2 games, and that number is going to get even more within the 3 games. Like, yeah, A-Chain's a must start.
When I watch him, he looks just like Chris Johnson. I mean, throwback player wise.
CJ2K?
Yeah.
I love that comparison. All right, are we good on green light running back? Shane, you got any more?
My only second guy I had was Brian Robinson, another Thursday night. I think there's room for him and Hal to both have good games. I mean,
Definitely.
I was completely wrong. I've been wrong on Robinson all year. I didn't like him coming into the year. I had him on my sit list last week.
Guilty. I'm right there with you.
I mean, he was RB15 against the best run defense in the league in the Eagles. So, I mean, that impressed me, last week that he did that. And like the Bears, they've given up, 115, 120 yards a game, something like that. So he could easily be another top 20 play this week.
I hate him.
I know, but he's dominating carries.
I know he's good. I get so deflated. It takes it all out of me whenever I hear good things about Brian Robinson.
He's the RB8 on the season.
That's crazy.
All right. I have that's all my green light running backs. Do you have any more, Rye?
Nope, we're good to go on red light wide receivers.
I have
Pumping the brakes.
Nico and Tank. I already talked about that earlier. I actually had them last week. Nico had another huge game. Tank, he kind of got contained, it seemed. My other one is Adam Thielen, who's been breaking out. This just goes back to the Atlanta. It's probably one of my highest confidence picks of the week is Atlanta. Lions. He's got the Lions, that defense at home. I think it's going to be an ugly one for the Panthers. So, those 3 guys have kind of taken off on a rocket ship past few weeks, and you're going to see things come back to life for them in 2 pretty tough spots, at Atlanta, at Detroit. Detroit is just going to run over these bad teams all year, and Atlanta knows how big this game is. So bad spots for both teams. Some regression is going to come.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there. Shane,
and what's this bullshit about the Panthers saying that they are looking for a wide receiver 1 for Bryce Young, and they think if they can get him that they can win the division this year? It's like, you guys are 0-4. What are you fucking talking about?
I saw that too, and I was like, that was kind of a head scratcher. I'm like, all right, well.
You should have won at home against the fucking shitty 0-3 Vikings if you wanted to win your division. I don't get that, but.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got Nico Collins also. I mean, I don't think, and people are going to start him like crazy because he's coming off 168 and 2 touchdowns against the Steelers. But we got to start talking about AJ Terrell for the Falcons and what he does to opposing wide receivers. Shit. That guy, and I watched most of that London game, and he shut down Calvin Ridley. He held him to 2 catches. It was 1 busted play is where Ridley got his touchdown, but that was literally one of his 2 catches on the day. And then earlier in the year, he held Romeo Doubs and the Packers to 2 catches. He locks up on the number 1 guy. He's going to lock up on Collins. He's not going to lock up on Tank Dell. And we got to start talking about him in the same breath as some of these corners where you maybe want to think twice of your receiver going against.
Yeah, it's a great point. I agree that I watched that pretty much all that London game, and I had the same exact thought. I honestly was thinking about this game bigger picture, not even going into that. But Terrell is looking like he's elite. So great point.
Yep.
Yeah, that kind of segues into my red light wide receiver is Calvin Ridley. I mean, he has just been struggling as of late. 2 targets last week, 3 targets the week before, and 2 targets the week before that. Like, how can you trust Calvin? Which is so disappointing because after week 1, I was like, yeah, here we go. This is Calvin Ridley. Like, welcome back to the NFL. And it's just been horrendous. You just can't trust him in your lineups. Last week, he saved his production with a touchdown, and it was just mediocre. And this Jaguars offense is just not looking like they should. So I'm staying away from Calvin Ridley this week.
Yeah, I don't understand. I've got probably more than any other player. I've got Calvin Ridley in almost all of my leagues. Like I targeted him, and it's crazy.
Yeah, and it's going to be hard because some people have to start. You just don't have better options out there, unfortunately, depending on your lineup. But I mean, dude, going against Buffalo this week, it's like, huh?
Don't just tell people that they're shitty drafters and they don't have any.
No, I'm just saying
Ridley.
There's people out there in situations where you just can't sit a player, a wide receiver, because you just don't have other options that are worthy.
Dude.
So I'm just saying there's
Brody's. I don't think you're all dog shit drafters and shitty fantasy players like Ryan just alluded to. I think you're smart. I think you have Puka. You go ahead and start Puka. Put Ridley on your bench. Okay. I would never say that about you guys. I know that you're listening and you're making good decisions. That was really fucked up for you to say, Chuck.
Yeah, keep pandering, you son of a bitch. Keep pandering.
My only hope is that maybe like there's no Tre'Davious White playing for Buffalo. Maybe that makes a difference for him this week, and throwing the ball a lot. But yeah, it's been rough to watch.
Yeah,
I think it's just like the Bills play a bend don't break style of football a lot of the times. Like if let's put it this way, if Allen is humming and they just know that he's not going to be stopped, then the defense starts to play a more aggressive, like going for interception, just a little bit more like risky type defense going for turnovers, and they'll give up points. So, maybe because of that and the team getting used to Trey White, I could see, but yeah, it's been bad since that first week for Ridley. Everyone, that whole Ridley pick week 1 was just, everyone was gloating over we were drafting. Yeah. The Ridley train that went from round 3 all the way up to the 1-2 turn was gloating after first week, but that offense has a lot of improvements to make fast, and I think they're going to. I mean, Doug Peterson's an outstanding coach. Lawrence is an outstanding quarterback, so it's inevitable that it comes, but has to come fast for us to start feel good.
Yeah. And my last red light wide receiver is Jerry Jeudy. Cortland Sutton is the wide receiver 1 on the team. And we've seen over the last couple of weeks, Russell Wilson, has it been happening consistently? No, but he's been throwing the ball pretty well. A couple 300-yard games, multi-touchdown games, and hardly any of it is going to Jerry Jeudy. Wide receiver 78, wide receiver 34, wide receiver 49, just horrendous. And I just don't see that getting better this week against the Jets. So no. I'm staying away from Jerry Jeudy at all costs.
I'm right there with you. I got him. This was interesting to me that I saw when I was looking his snaps last week. So week 3, he had 47 snaps. Last week, it dropped to 30. And you're starting to see guys like Brandon Johnson and then Marvin Mims in weeks prior to that get more targets and more snaps. And I don't know if we might continue to see that.
Do we have any word on Dulcich?
I haven't heard anything about Dulcich.
I'll look that up. I think it's a tough matchup, so I like it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Green light, wide receiver, I have a guy in a team in a matchup that I think is going to have a ton of points. Jordan Addison. I think he's gonna. I just think there's going to be a game script where that team or those two teams put up a ton of points, and I like Addison, man. I think like that role that he has with Hawkinson and Jefferson just being so good that he can kind of sneak in there and be that guy that gets you some big plays after, Jefferson has 3 catches in a drive and they start to clamp down and focus on him a little bit. Addison can break open and catch a 40-yard touchdown. I just think he plays that role so well. He is a big swing type wide receiver. So I can see him getting a play or two like that, finding the end zone and having a big day against the Chiefs. The other one is Jalen Waddle. It's just inevitable that his big game is coming. He's kind of,
Please.
Come on.
Please.
Yeah.
Let it be soon.
Yeah. So I think that's coming. He's got a terrible Giants team. Literally, like Giants. I think the Giants can get out of that Daniel Jones contract like next year.
They said after next year.
After next year. So
yeah.
I don't want to cut. I don't want to just. There's a reason why they can get out, right? They had no choice but to pay him. He had just won a playoff game coming off a great season, but that is as good as it gets for the Giants. Like that offense, what they currently have, that team, that's as good as it gets last year. So there was naturally going to be some regression, kind of like the Vikings, to be honest, but to pay him that much money, I'm somewhere. Huh? Sorry. Does that happen once an episode where I get blasted from audio somewhere and just lose my entire train of thought?
Yeah. Yes, it does.
Yes.
It does. Yes, it does.
Well, that just happened. So anyways, Addison and Waddle, I forgot everything I was talking about.
Yeah, no, I like those 2 picks. I don't know what happened with Addison last week. Like, did anything come out about him, or he just put up a goose egg?
His snap count dropped 30 from the week prior. Like, just stop with the KJ Osborne dominating him in snaps. Put Addison in on the 2 wide receiver sets. I mean, just make the switch already.
Yeah, I agree with you. My green light wide receivers are Michael Pittman and Romeo Doubs. Michael Pittman, double-digit targets in 3 of his first 4 weeks. 11 targets, 12 targets, 11 targets the first 3. Just a complete beast. Target hog on the team. And we were just talking about Anthony Richardson being a green light quarterback this week. I really like Pittman going against Tennessee. Tennessee's defense is someone you can throw on, and I'm excited for Pittman. Tennessee allowing the 10th most yards per game to opposing wide receivers. And I could just see Anthony Richardson throwing more this game than he ever has. And I'm excited to see what Pittman can do.
I like that.
Yep.
I almost put him on mine.
Mm-hmm.
I also like the game script for the Titans. I don't have much else to add. Against the Titans, I have the Colts winning that game.
Yeah. And then Romeo Doubs. I mean, we've seen what he's been doing so far. He's the wide receiver 16.
What do you have, 9 catches last week? Like, gosh.
Yeah.
13
targets last week and 12 targets the week before.
Yeah.
Just
and don't freak out about Christian Watson coming back. Like, him and Love have a connection.
Yeah, it's clear as day. I agree.
Yeah.
I can't believe he's on the waiver wire in leagues.
He's literally week 1, he was the wide receiver 14. Week 3, wide receiver 17. Week 4, wide receiver 11.
And that last game was on. The last game was on national television too.
I know.
They had 9 catches on national television.
Yeah.
Usually that would be the only thing. It'd be like, oh, the Packers haven't had much, haven't been spotlighted much yet, but they were on national television. So no excuse for him to be on your waiver wire.
Yeah, and all that production, he has yet to crack 100 yards in a single game, and I think this is the week he does it. He's going against a Las Vegas defense who is letting up over 25 points per game. And the Packers got whooped last week by the Lions. Like, I think they're going to bounce back strong. They're going to be looking to make a statement that they're not going to be the team that you could just run over like that, even though the Lions did that in prime time. So, yeah, I think Romeo Doubs is a great play this week. He's been a top 20 guy 3 out of the 4 games. So I think he's right there.
I love it. I love him. I love Lamp.
I don't have any of my Anchorman drops, but yeah, that would have been a good time for an Anchorman drop.
I got all my green light. What about you, Shane? Where are you?
All right, so my 2 guys are. This is the first week you are finally going to see Garrett Wilson inside the top 20 wide receiver finish this week.
I can't wait for that.
DJ Moore just had his best day, probably going to be of the whole year last year against this defense when he went for 8 for 130 and a touchdown. We talked about Broncos are horrible against the pass. So fire him up. This is finally the game you're going to get him inside that top 20, probably even closer to the 10 mark. And then I'm going to go with Zay Flowers. Listen, forget about last week. Everybody struggles against the Browns defense receiver wise. Prior to that, I had liked that he was getting in 2 of those 4 games. He was getting at least 10 targets a game. And we just saw the Pittsburgh Steelers let Nico Collins just have a career day, basically. I don't know what's going on with that defense, but it's not the defense that we thought that they were going to be coming into the year.
I like both of those. I don't have much else to add. Zay Flowers, to me, is not a Tank Dell. I don't put them in the same bucket. I think Zay Flowers is the clear number 1 wide receiver on that team. And I'm not necessarily trying to hate on Tank Dell. I know he's been on red light a couple times. I just think let's settle down on him being a 2 touchdown, huge play guy. Those games will come, but Zay Flowers is a huge part of what the Ravens are going to be doing all year. What's going on with the running back room? Who's Keaton Mitchell? Why are we talking about him?
Absolutely nothing is going on with the running back room.
Why
ignore
Mitchell?
Ignore.
Well, Mitchell has got that profile of A-Chain, of that type of back. He's so unlike, and I wrote about him in the waiver wire piece this week for Sports Ethos. So he played the preseason. He's got that 4.43 speed. His profile's just like A-Chain, quick change of direction. He's just so unlike any other Ravens running back that is currently in that stable right now. Is why I think people are thinking he may get some run at some point in time this year. So he's it's like
he was just a hot, trendy name, essentially. Someone threw him out there, and everyone's like, "Oh yeah, the Ravens quarter."
Well, I think because
figure out who that guy's going to be for the Ravens for so long.
And he looked so good in the preseason. He broke off a lot of long runs with that speed.
Yeah, you know who else looked good in the preseason? DTR.
Listen, I think he's going to be I would tell everyone, if you've got an IR spot, stash him. I don't think it hurts. That.
Why is he? He's on the IR.
Yeah, he's supposed to come off this week.
So that's why. So that's another reason why. Okay.
Yeah, that's why. Those running backs are just awful there.
Yeah. All right. Well, where does that put us? Red light tight ends?
Yes, it does.
Tend. I honestly, I don't even want to put any red lights on there. I have 5 green lights, and I have.
Oh my God.
I have to.
All right. Well, Shane, let's go ahead and talk about red lights.
I'd rather just not.
All right. Well, why don't I start red light tight ends? I only have one guy on my red light list, and it's Dallas Goedert.
Oh yes.
Is that you too, Shane?
Yes.
Nice. Good call. I like where your head's at. Dallas Goedert for me. He's been off to a really slow start. He's failed to log over 50 receiving yards or a touchdown in any game. And like Coach Sirianni's coming out and like, oh, I promise, like we're gonna get him involved. He's gonna be a part of this. Like, no, we haven't seen it, and it's not necessary. The Eagles are winning, and they don't need Goddard production. So I'm fading Goddard in any chance I can. He
started in 75% of leagues I was looking up, and then here's where he's finished every week. Tight end 69. I did. Second week was good. Second week was really good. Tight end 20. Yeah. And then he had tight end 13 and then tight end 28. I mean, to be still started. And I get it. You guys, you drafted him like what, rounds 5, 6, maybe, but I think there's just too many weapons there.
Yeah, I could see that. Like Swift is getting a lot of yards. And well, you're not going to stop that anytime soon. AJ Brown, it's already been so hard to have Brown and Devonta eat as much as they want to. Yeah. So, I mean, you know, what's so funny is Deion Sanders talks about it. I heard him talk about it. Gosh, what was this on? I would love to go bring it up, but basically he's like these alphas, the best players on the football field are alphas, like these AJ Browns, these Devonta Smith. When you have two of them in a wide receiver room, like you literally have to go and check in with those types of players and be like, are you good? Are you full? Because they need that, right? They need that to feel good about themselves, to feel good about their game they're having. That's the motor that you know, that's the fuel that they run on. So it was funny to hear Deion talk about it, but when your team as good as the Eagles with that many good players, that's exactly what we're talking about. Like, is there any leftover for Goddard? Not to mention Goddard's not necessarily one of those guys. He'll go out there, get gritty, be a part of the running game with it through blocking. So yeah, that's interesting. It's and kind of Kittle is feeling the same. In my mind, the same thing's kind of happening with Kittle too, in San Francisco, in a different way. Because I think some of it's Kittle's age, some of it's Kittle's role in that offense. But you know, similar kind of story, I guess. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, I get where you're going with that.
All right, let's hear your 10 green light tight ends of the week.
Sammy Laporta. I already talked about him earlier. Sammy game time, absolute beast. So Logan Thomas, we talked about his game script. I think there's going to be a lot of points. I think Howell likes throwing to a tight end. I mean, he's had some good games. I think Logan Thomas is going to have another good one in a high scoring game. There's another guy I have on my list that I cannot miss out on his first touchdown in the NFL. Dalton Kincaid. I have to be in on Kincaid's first touchdown.
Please make it happen.
So it's just like he's going to have to get involved. We know that. The offense is playing so well that you don't really need to force him to get involved, but that's still going to come. That element to the offense, they're gonna get that going, and hopefully when they do, it happens pretty quickly and effectively. So I'm going to put Kincaid on there, and then my other two. One is Tyler Higbee. I forget the exact stat of why he's on here, but Ryan and I were talking about him the other night to replace Pitts. We were talking about him last night to replace Pitts, and I think it has to do with the Eagles giving up the tight end position and production at the tight end position. But Higbee's on there, and then Evan Ingram. So I know Truck has just mentioned fading Trevor Lawrence. He's fading Calvin Ridley. Well, I think that what I noticed watching that Jaguars game last week is when they got Ingram in the offense, the ball in his hands, he makes plays. And things started to kind of go a little bit with that offense when they got him the ball. So I think you might see Lawrence trying to get him involved a little bit more, because it's kind of like, to a lesser extent, last season when you saw Purdy put the ball in Kittle's hands, and his just like, he was the motor of that. He's the heartbeat of that offense. He's the motor of that team. So you kind of saw things go as he went. And I don't know. I just, for some reason, think that I saw a little bit of that last week with the Jaguars offense. So I think he's going to look to get Ingram going a good bit to try to spark things in that offense. So those are my 5 green light tight ends.
Yeah, those all make a ton of sense. And I would like to make a service, what's it called? An announcement for all the roadies out there. I want to put a permanent red light on Kyle Pitts until further notice, until they get a new quarterback. Until that moment, permanent red light on Kyle Pitts.
So fucked up. That's almost as fucked up as what you said about the roadies earlier.
Hey, you're twisting my words. That didn't happen. Okay. Yeah. So my green light, Shane. I'm wondering if we have the same red light and green light tight ends, but my green light tight end is Jake Ferguson.
Ferg.
Is it you? Yeah, Fergie. Okay, yeah, I love it. Jake Ferguson is the tight end 8 on the season. Quietly, he's been really, really good. Last week, he was the tight end 4. The Cowboys, to me, need to look to him in the red zone if they want a good chance of winning this game against the 49ers. I picked up Ferguson in a couple leagues, and I'm definitely going to be starting him this week. I really like what he's been doing. So on the Cowboys.
Another guy who should not be on the waiver wire any longer.
No.
Yes.
It's been far too long.
No. When you get 7 targets a game, which is what he's gotten for 3 games in a row, like in today's fantasy world, that's a tight end you should be starting. And I also like, look, the old man Zach Ertz and his walker last week against the Niners was tight end 10. He got 10 targets in that game, I think 6 or 7 catches, and like, this is not just a 1-year thing. Dak targets the tight end. Like, I've seen it year in year. Last year he targeted the tight end position on 25% of his throws. That's his safety valve spot, whether if it's Dalton Schultz or Jake Ferguson this year.
I love when you say Dalton shorts.
Dalton Shorts. I like it.
That's almost as good as the Red Rocket.
The Red Rocket. Wow.
Yeah. Side note, dude, how is Zach Ertz doing this, dude? This guy's 32 years old.
Cole's conspiracy. Ready?
Okay, what do you got?
The Arizona Cardinals are trying to beef up Ertz's stats. I think Trey McBride's ready to take over, and they're trying to feed Ertz, get his health looking good, and just kind of increase his trade value to try to give him to a contender, give him a wily veteran that can still produce at a high level.
A wily veteran, like.
Yeah.
I haven't heard wily used as an descriptive in a long time, so that was good. Guys, wily.
The wily veteran.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, I think they could be feeding him a lot. I mean, it was just like an absurd amount, and it still kind of is, but he wasn't expected to come out and get 10 targets. Like, just from a health perspective, it's like, whoa, that dude's that old coming back from that knee injury, and we're just gonna, drink from a fire hose and give him 10 targets week 1. So I think that's what could potentially be going on there.
Yeah. Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. The wily veteran. Yeah. All right. Anybody got anything left?
No. I have some notes. Trifecta drop. We got to get that this week.
I'll cook something up for you guys.
Yeah. Maybe like trifecta.
Something a little quick, something a little.
Yeah, just a little zinger in there.
Yeah.
We got to get that going. Brainstorm the conspiracy segment. Just think about it. Next time you're
I like the Kulz conspiracy theory.
Next time you're behind the 18-wheeler, you're looking up at the stars, maybe a few bugs splatting in the windshield.
Oh, that happens all the time.
Yeah, and you're out in the open road, and you just think about the conspiracy segment, Kulz conspiracies, maybe.
Yeah, we'll figure something out.
Okay,
I like it.
All right, I'm good.
You're good, Shane. You're good.
Yep, we're good.
All right. Well, that about does it for another episode of the Fantasy Roadshow. This was our Week 5 red light, green light, our love hate. This will be released as a Substack article written by Kulz as he puts together all of our thoughts. And you can get that at thefantasyroadshow.substack.com. Kulz, did you want to say something?
It's written by all of us. It's composed by me.
Okay. Yes.
We all have put our
Articles
own touch
composed
on our picks. I may do a little intro, a little outro, put together a week 4 recap. And we want to get a little bit more pictures or fun to the article and not just throw a bunch of words at you. So yeah, it's
a work in progress. You guys follow the Substack, thefantasyroadshow.substack.com. If you're listening to this podcast, go check us out on YouTube at youtube.com/sportsethos. Like, subscribe, join the fun. All of our episodes go live. And we encourage everybody to chime in, ask questions about your specific situations. If you do have questions, feel free to hit us up on Twitter at Fantasy Roadshow for the show Twitter. Mine is at Fantasy_Trucker. Kulz at Kulz_Sports. Shane at S McCormick_FF.
Yep. Yeah, this is my favorite thing we do. We're going to keep getting better, keep adding things as we go. And, you guys know what to do. I'm sorry, Ryan called you all idiots. Buckle up.